As we grow older, some things about us change, while many others stay exactly the same and probably crystallize even further. And maybe that's why sometimes there's certain habits that once we pick them up, they almost never go away. Today, I just want to walk you through some things I decided to quit, especially once I crossed the big 40. So don't ask me when I turned 40, but I hope some of the things I'm going to share will resonate with your experiences. And if not, I hope I may be able to inspire you to head in the same direction as I have. Now, you don't have to be 40. You could be 20, you could be 60, you could be whichever age, but any age that feels significant, an age that perhaps requires some self-reflection and changes. But more importantly, I'd love to hear your thoughts about some of the things that you have decided to do differently now that you're possibly older and probably wiser. Things that I hope have come with some freedoms and liberties as a result of significant changes. So I hope to hear from you in the comments later on. Well, good morning, friends. We are back again to the village. We are in Karateng, a very beautiful village in the middle of Kisumu City in Western Kenya. This video is not necessarily very recent, and some of you may have seen it before, but we are spending time at my brother's house. That's myself, my sisters, my cousins, my wife, and all that. And we're just having a good time. As you know, growing up in Kenya, there was a saying that I think work without play makes Tom a dull kid or something like that. So yes, we have fun too whenever we gather in the village. So as you watch this video, I'm going to walk you through the things that I decided to simply quit. Now, number one of the things I decided to quit is working too hard for too long. This is something that is very easy to get into, especially when you're living in diaspora. Many of us do multiple jobs, multiple shifts, lots of hustles, and all of that is fine. The only challenge is that it's very hard to sustain that type of lifestyle for a long period of time, because at some point, it really starts taking a toll on you physically. It can drain you, take away your enthusiasm for life, really take a knock on your spirit and your body and all that. And even more importantly, working so much really can take a toll on your relationships, especially relationships with kids. And for me, I noticed for a long time, I really struggled with sleep, and I'm not done yet. But I remember when I finished my doc program, I really wanted to sleep. But having not slept for so many years, I would function on 3 to 4 hours of sleep for many, many years. It really took a toll on me to the point where even today, I don't sleep too well. And so working hard is good, and especially when you're focused on a particular goal. You want to do some extra shift or do extra work to take care of some business, that's fine. But you don't want to spend 30, 40 years of your life working extra hard every day for so many years. It really does take a toll on you. So at some point in my life, I decided, hey, money is good, but yes, there has to be a balance. And so I stopped working extra hard for too long. So now I can focus on my kids and things like that. Now, part of this, I also recognize the privilege that I have, that some folks are in circumstances where this is not possible. If that's your case, don't feel judged. We've all been there, and sometimes if you have to do what you have to do, no problem. All I'm saying is you probably don't want to do this for the rest of your life. Number two, I quit neglecting my physical and mental health. Nowadays, I take my health very seriously. And sometimes it's such a wonder how pain can be a good reminder of the privileges we have when we are fine. I'm one of those people that I rarely get sick, but when it happens, it just reminds you of how precious it is to have body parts that are just functioning right. Think about even having pain in your eyes or your knees or your ears, things that you almost never think about. The day something happens to them, you really realize how beautiful it is to be fine. So I don't play with my health anymore. Now, I also quit watching sports, especially live sports. Part of it is all the stress hormones that we pump into our bodies when we are watching stressful sports. I'm a big fan of Arsenal. And nowadays, I simply watch replays. not while they're actually playing. And that's just a personal choice. In the same breath, number 4, I also quit watching news. I quit cable, took all of that out. And so when I have downtime, I select exactly what I want to watch. And whatever I watch has to be something that gives me joy. If it doesn't, I stay away from it. So I stay away from news. The only place where this is hard is when I'm back in Kenya. And of course, in Kenya, pretty much everybody watches news, and it's very hard to get around it. But I don't watch news. And thankfully, nothing important is going to happen that I will not notice. If Jesus shows up, I'm pretty sure I'll know about it. But I stay away from news in part because 90% of the time it's all stressful stuff. So staying away from it just relieves me of unnecessary stress. And that relates to number 5, which is I quit stressing over small things. See, the beautiful thing about being older is that you can actually play scenarios all through to the end without having to go through it. Something starts and you know exactly how it's going to end. And so there are many, many things I've come to learn over the years that I would stress about, only to realize that really they were not even worth it. There are things that were really, really small, things that are not even worth my time. For example, some random stranger making an unkind comment on my page. Somebody I'm less likely to even meet somewhere. Not even worth stressing about. And some of these things are things that I can't even change. And so as I grow older, I'm very attuned to things that matter and things that really don't, in terms of whether or not I want to invest my heart in them. So I do my best not to stress over every little thing. Number 6, I quit perfectionism. Almost all my life, I've been a serious perfectionist. And in my world, something is either done properly or not done at all. I've never had like gray areas in between. And that has been really tough, especially in my world where we write. And sometimes it really takes me a long time to send out a paper because it just never is perfect enough for it to go out there. And so I had to cut back that down and just, hey, do my best and send it out there. And perfectionism also makes you stress other people who don't function in the same way. And so I do my best to scale back on perfectionism. It's one additional source of stress that I don't need in life. Now, the 7th thing that I also quit is overcommitting. In my line of work, especially working in America, I find myself in spaces where I'm often the only one. Sometimes I'm the only man, like in my program, I'm the only black male. I'm the only man, of course. And in the entire college, I'm the only full professor tenured who identifies as black. And so with that background, I'm often pulled in all kinds of directions. And the first couple of years, I would find myself saying yes to everything. And after a while, I find myself spread so thin so that by the time I'm getting home, I have very little gas left in my tank for my kids. So at this point in my life, I know very well that no is a perfect answer, and I don't have to explain anything. And in fact, I'm learning from my supervisor, the youngest one, who likes to tell me no without explanation. For example, sometimes she would be crying, and then I ask her, "Oh, Tini, can you wipe your face?" She's like, "No, I don't want to wipe my face." And that's it. So yes, no is a perfect answer. I don't have to stretch myself thin so that at the end of the day, I have given everything I have to my work to the point where I have nothing left for my wife and my kids. So yes, I don't overcommit anymore. And then that also relates to number 8. I quit thinking about people who invest very little in me. Of course, you can't expect everybody to invest in you because we don't do the same with everybody else. And it doesn't mean that these people are bad. It simply means that you just need to put in what you get back. And so in some cases, I end up with a place where there are folks that I still consider ourselves good friends, but we talk every 2 years or so. We are cool. Nothing wrong with that. I just put in what I'm getting out. And that is actually tied to number 9, which is I quit investing or maintaining relationships that are non-reciprocal. So like I said earlier, I put in what I get. If it's transactional, I keep it transactional. There are people who call me when they need something, and I do the same. I call them when I need something, and that's totally fine, as long as it's mutually transactional. And so in the same breath, I also stop calling people who don't call. Given that for me, I don't particularly care about talking over the phone, but I keep it mutual. You do that, I do the same, and I don't feel bad about it in that sense. And so that speaks to one of those things that folks have said very commonly out there about not setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. So I simply put in what I get, and I don't worry about it, and I don't think that people are necessarily bad for doing the same thing. No. And then, of course, the last one, I stopped fearing change. Sometimes we fight over things that don't matter. Like in my case, I remember they used to pay us to actually create online classes before COVID. Many folks stayed away from it. And when COVID hit, everybody suddenly had to teach online. And so people like us were well prepared for that. Others were not. And so I come to learn that if something needs to change, I just need to figure out how to make it work and make the best of it. Because when you're fighting change, it's just more unnecessary stress on yourself. I hope to hear your comments about things you have changed so we can all learn. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next. Bye.